Hello, and the warmest of welcomes indeed to this afternoon's iOB business webinar. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on here. My name is Ben, and I'm the resident business coach here at iOB Business, and I will be the one talking you through today's webinar, answering the big "how do I" questions. Okay, so this is very much something that we're excited to speak with you about. It's many things that I get asked as a business coach regularly. It's many things that we get asked about. Okay, so really what our goal is to do today is to talk you through the big "how do I" questions. How do I do this? How do I do that when it comes to digital marketing agencies and indeed business in general? Okay, so if this is your first time joining us on one of these iOB business webinars, first of all, a big warm welcome. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on here. Once again, my name is Ben. Now, if you are joining again for the second, third, fourth, fifth time, maybe 10th time, who knows? Thank you ever so much for taking the time to join us. An absolute pleasure to have you on here as well. Okay, so if you have joined us before, you'll be more than familiar with how these work. But if this is your first time joining us on one of these webinars, here's a little bit about how they work right before we get kicked off. So in between each of the three core topics that I'm going to discuss today, we always discuss three core topics. And in between each one, I'm going to take a brief pause to give you a moment to ask away with any questions that you might have. Okay. Now, if you do have any questions for us, please feel free to ask them during these times or indeed at any time throughout today's session. And I'll answer them for you during the Q&A session at the end of today's webinar. Okay. So without further ado, let's get kicked off. Okay, so right before the webinar begins today, if you could please do me a big favor and just let me know in the chat box, can you hear my voice okay? And can you see the presentation up on screen okay? Just let me know with a yes, thumbs up, number one, whatever works. Just let me know we're all good and we're ready to rock, and then I'll be more than happy to get kicked off once I know that you lovely people are tuned in and can hear us well. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, looks like we're ready to rock. So let's get started then with today's session. So right before we get kicked off, once again, my name is Ben and I am a business coach. I specialize in working with small businesses to help them achieve stability and growth. Just like many of you on here today, just like many people that have been on the webinars in the past, it's a pleasure to meet you. Whether you are a business owner, whether you're looking to become a business owner, or whether you're just on this webinar because you're interested to learn some new stuff. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome you on here, and thank you ever so much for taking the time to join us. Now, today's discussion points, three as always. Number one, how do I find clients for my business? Okay, so today we're answering the big "how do I" question. So first of all, how do I find clients for my business? Second of all, how do I make a sale? And third of all, how do I keep my clients from leaving the business? Okay, and these are three very big questions, something that I get asked all the time as a business coach. Okay, so I'm going to answer each three of these questions in good detail for you today. So hopefully you end up leaving today's webinar more well-informed and happily answering these questions for yourself as well. Okay, so beginning with topic number one, let's get kicked off. How do I find clients for my business? Okay, well, beginning with point number one, you've got to be sure of your service offering before attempting to find a client. Okay, this is perhaps the biggest thing that I discuss when it comes to really evaluating somebody as a potential client for your business. And what you've got to make sure that you're doing is that you are developing a specific and precise service offering so that you know actually who the type of client is that you would like to work for your business. Now, this is extremely important to think about because when it comes to offering our service, okay, now whether that be say paid advertising, website development, anything along these lines, graphic design, okay, whether you're thinking about these types of things or something completely different, if you're unsure of what this service offering is or potentially how you could offer that to somebody else, okay, you have to think about ultimately what this entails, how much it's going to cost, how exactly you're going to deliver the service before you can even look at finding a client. Okay, so it's a very important thing to do. Now, the second thing that you must do is assess which industry and therefore niche your service is best suited to, okay? Because there are going to be potentially many people that you're thinking about, many businesses that you're thinking about. I'm answering the question here, how do I find clients for my business? Okay, so first of all, be sure of your service offering. Second to that, you've got to assess which industry and therefore niche your service is best suited to. Okay, so say that I choose to run paid advertising as a digital agency. Okay, now I've decided that potentially the best industry that I could go into would be construction and maintenance. Okay, and the niche within this could be roofing services. Okay, now the reason I'm saying that is because I understand that lots of people need roofers. I'm familiar with running paid adverts, and I have actually indeed found that people need roofers. I can make very, very positive impacts in this industry if I were to go on and work for a roofer with my paid advertising. Okay, so I'm honing that down. Now, a niche could be slightly bigger than a roofer. You could look at painters and decorators, plumbers, joiners, and this is just within the construction industry. And this is because I've thought about what my service offering means. I've thought about who would benefit from my service offering. And therefore, I have then assessed which industry and therefore niche my service is best suited to. Okay. So the next thing behind that you can do, okay, we're going to use 4 points to answer this core question here. The third of which, consider unique or powerful ways of approaching prospects in this area. Okay, so what you've got to think about doing is, how can I be the most impactful? How can I really resonate with my target audience here? And how can I leave a lasting message behind so that they're going to feel like I'm somebody worth working with? Okay, my business is something worth working with. So unique or powerful ways of approaching prospects in this area. Okay, so unique way, let's say, we're looking at roofers specifically, and a unique way that we could approach these prospects in a powerful manner could be contacting them and saying, look, I've actually evaluated the roofing opportunity in this area. Okay, I've seen X amount of houses, X amount of buildings that could actually do with roofing work from my untrained eye. Now, what I would like to ask you is, how many of these people are your clients? Okay, because I've done an evaluation. Now, what we can do behind this is consider ways that we can actually show them the potential that they're missing, the amount of potential business that they're missing, and say, well, look, if you utilize our services, whether that's paid ads, website development, whatever, social media, we can actually help you reach these prospects. Okay. Excuse me. So, final point, okay, consider ways in which you could bring these prospects to you. Build and they will come. Okay. So, it's not always about reaching out. You're looking to find clients for your business. It's not always about reaching out. It's also about building a house of business, shall we say, that people will want to visit. Okay, imagine you're building an office, you're building a warehouse, you're building a house that people will want to visit. Build and they will come. Okay, build a business so significant that launches its message so far that people will begin coming to you. Now, how can you do this? You can run adverts for yourself. You can utilize social media. You can use emailing. You can use webinars, just like these ones that we're looking at now. Okay, consider ways in which you could bring these prospects to you. Okay, so you don't always have to be approaching them, but if you are going to approach them, try and use a cool, unique, creative way that you can get in touch. Okay, so many other businesses will be reaching out to these people just saying, hi, my name is so-and-so, I run this business, here's what I can offer you. Okay, we need to look different. We need to look unique. We need to look agile. We need to be something that they haven't seen before. Now, if we want to also consider ways that we can actually bring these prospects to us, build and they will come. Build a significant client base, build a significant service offering, build a significant brand recognition, run paid ads, take out leaflets, take out flyers, take out billboard ads if you must. Okay, build and they will come. All right, so that brings us to the end of topic number 1. I'm going to give you a brief pause now to go ahead and jot down any questions. Thank you ever so much for the question. I'll get that for you at the end, and I'll be right back with you in just a moment's time for topic number 2. Fantastic. Okay, excellent. So hopefully you've had a chance to jot down any notes that you might wish to take, and indeed had a chance to ask any questions as well. Any questions that I do get, I will be answering at the end. So please don't worry if I haven't answered your question yet. I will be getting that for you at the end of today's webinar during the Q&A session. Thank you ever so much for taking the time to ask that question. Okay, so next up, how do I make a sale? Okay, so we covered the last question. How do I get clients for my business? Okay, we covered it in detail. We spoke about analyzing your industry, analyzing your niche, making sure that you've got your service offering correct before you try and approach somebody so that you know what to offer, how to offer it, when to offer it, etc. We also spoke about approaching them in unique ways. Okay, trying to separate yourself from the crowd, trying to speak to somebody in a way that they haven't seen before. And finally, building and allowing them to come to us. Okay, so the next big question that I get asked all the time, how do I make a sale? Okay, now this is potentially my favorite topic of conversation, and you'll definitely hear some enthusiasm in my voice when we're speaking about this. Okay, how do I make a sale is such an awesome question, and it's something that I love to answer. Okay, now I would say really that the fundamental answer to this question, and potentially the answer to the broader question of sales, okay, in my opinion, is that you must know who you're speaking to. Sales is an extraordinarily personal procedure. Okay, there is no one size fits all. There is no, again, in my view, there is no concrete method of absolute undeniable sales 24/7 round the clock. Okay, you must know who you are speaking to. Now, there's an age old saying, people buy from people. Okay, if the person likes you, they are more likely to buy from your business or buy the product or service that you have on offer. Okay, so you have to know who you're speaking to, because sales is an extremely personal procedure. Okay, we have to be analyzing their body language, we have to be analyzing their vocal language. Where are they from? What do they do? What's their experience? Can you build any rapport with them? Can you empathize with them? Think about who it is that you're speaking to. Imagine that you're trying to make a new friend. Okay, now, especially in the service-based industry, because you'll be working together for prolonged periods of time, clients will be thinking about it, potential clients, prospects, in other words, will be thinking about not only buying from you in this initial stage, they'll also be thinking about, do I want to work with this person for the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? Okay. Now, especially if you are personally dealing with their accounts, and again, this really applies to any service and some product-based businesses, we've got to be thinking about working together for the long term. So this must be done on a personal level. Know who you are speaking to, analyze that person. What kind of business do they have? What got them into that business in the first place? Why do they enjoy it? Why do they not enjoy it? What's their biggest problems? Okay. One of the absolute biggest things you can do in sales is solve a problem for somebody. If you are solving a major problem, they are very, very likely to transact with you financially. Okay. There are multiple other reasons why they may not, which we can cover throughout today's topic number 2 as well. Okay, so once again, people buy from people. Focus on getting the prospect to like you before attempting to sell your service. Okay, so let's say that theoretically you offer a consultation, a session of sorts before they actually buy from you if you're a service-based business. Okay, this is fairly common. Digital marketing agencies might do audits, they might review campaigns, they might look at ways that they can help improve the business life of the prospect before actually asking them to do any business. Okay, it's no obligation, it's no commitment, no credit card necessary type thing. Okay, now what you must do during these processes is focus on getting the prospect to like you. Okay, have a laugh, share a bit of banter, build a friendly rapport. Okay, now there are some circumstances where it's more appropriate to be professional, and there are some circumstances where it's more appropriate to be a bit more casual. Either one of these can work depending on the type of situation that you're in, the type of person that you're speaking to, and the type of business that you're dealing with. But really, really try hard to focus on the type of person that you're speaking to, and therefore allow yourself to build a bit of rapport with them, and then therefore allow them the opportunity to like you. Okay, because again, in my view, in my experience of sales, one thing is almost for certain, that if they like you, they are considerably more likely to buy from you. Okay, so don't even attempt to sell the service that you have before you feel like you've got some good rapport going with that customer, before you feel like, yes, actually, I could work with that person. And they're thinking in their head, I could work with that person too. Okay, so it's a very, very positive setup, something that's very, very easy to do once you begin to get the hang of it. But one of the key fundamentals that can be missed so easily in sales is, I haven't tried to build a rapport with that person. I haven't tried to get that person to like me yet. And therefore, you're not going to sell. You know, maybe your sale falls on deaf ears, and that could become a bit of a problem for you. All right, so it's not really something that you want to have to deal with in the long term. Now, selling without selling. Okay, sell without selling. What you can do is focus on helping your prospect, and you will find that the sale may happen organically. Okay, so taking this into account, so sell without selling, Ben, well, what do you mean by that? How does that work? Okay, well, here's how you can do it. Focus on helping your prospect first, and you'll find that the sale may then happen organically. Okay, so really the concept of selling without selling is actually not trying to sell at all. Actually, almost inadvertently selling, and they say, oh, well, can I do this? Can I work with you on a long-term basis? Can I sign up for your service? And you go, oh, yeah, sure. Okay, perfect. Almost as if you completely didn't expect it at all. And this is the art of selling without selling. Okay. Now, another way to explain this theory would be potentially if we were using, let's say we were using a product. Say I was using a mobile phone or a gadget of some kind, and I was speaking with my friend, and I would say, I love using this because X, Y, Z. Oh, my phone is so great. Oh my God, look at those photos. Look at this picture. Look at this camera. Look at how well this connects to other phones. Okay, whatever this might be described as. Now, they might then say, oh, actually, Ben, can I buy that phone from you? Okay. And inadvertently, I've actually sold the phone because I haven't focused on trying to sell to them. I haven't been saying, how much money have you got? Or how much can I sell this to you for? Et cetera, et cetera. What I've been doing is just explaining the major benefits of the thing that I'm using, AKA the service or the product. And I've sold without actually intending to sell. Okay. You focus on helping your prospect. Now, in a service-based manner, this could be, hey, let me take a look at those campaigns with you. Hey, let me solve some problems for you. Okay. And you'll find that the sale may then happen organically because you're focusing so much on helping them. And whilst you're helping them, they're thinking in the back of their head, oh, actually, I might actually like to work with them long term. They're being really, really helpful now, and I'm not even paying them any money. So can you imagine how helpful they would be if I actually became a client of theirs? Okay. Now, the final thing that you can do in order to make a sale is develop a service offering that is undeniably great. Okay. And this can take time. Developing the correct service offering in the initial stages is really based on doing research around who your target audience is and how you can solve their biggest problems, along with the skill sets and the passions and strengths that you have. And you develop an offering that fits the target market and indeed fits you as the service provider as well. Okay. Now, over time, we're going to look at developing a service that is undeniably great, but this can take time. So don't worry about that in the offset. But as you continue with your business, make sure that you're focusing on how you can improve this service. You're taking constructive feedback from your clients, you're reviewing the service that you offer and seeing essentially how you can improve the life of yourself, your business, anybody that works for you, and indeed, potentially the most important of all, your customers and your clients. Okay, so that brings us to the end of topic number 2. I'm going to give you once again just a brief moment to jot down any questions that you might have. And indeed, please do feel free to take down some notes as well. And I'll join you again in just a moment's time for topic number 3. Okay, fantastic. So moving on to the third and final question that I'm going to answer for you today. How do I keep my clients from leaving my business? Okay, the big 3 how do I questions. Third and final question, how do I keep clients from leaving my business? Okay, now the first thing I want to explain to you and work with you on today on this topic is make communication a key part of your day-to-day business routine. Okay, keep your clients informed. They love it when you chat to them. Okay, now, of course, there are those rare exceptions where clients prefer to be a little bit more sort of off grid. They don't want to be booking meetings every week or every month. They would much rather just get a brief update from you. Hey, here's how things are going. Everything's going well. Happy days. Okay. However, in general, for a service-based business, clients like to know what's going on. Okay. Now, a very, very big thing about client care is communication. And ultimately, client care is what's going to keep us in the right area with our clients, with our prospects, even at the right time. Okay. So when we make communication a key part of our day-to-day business, we keep our clients informed, we keep our clients happy. A very, very big way that clients end up actually leaving service-based businesses, in my experience, is that they actually begin to feel like they've been cut out the loop. They feel like they've not had an update in forever. And if they haven't had an update, they can't feel very close to you. They can't feel very close to their business provider, service provider, sorry. They don't know what's happening. They don't know what's happening with their campaigns, their products, their services, anything that they pay you for. So you can imagine as a customer yourself or a client yourself of these businesses, imagine you tried to phone your TV provider and you couldn't get hold of them. Okay, pretty quickly you begin to dislike that TV service, is my guess. All right, so go above and beyond when you can, but make sure that you under promise and over deliver. Okay, if you take nothing else away from today's webinar, please take this: under promise, over deliver. Never do the opposite. Never over promise and under deliver, because you set your client up with false expectations only to let them down. Okay, this is not something that we ever want to do, and it can be easy. It can be easy to accidentally over promise. We get overexcited, we get carried away, and we say, yeah, absolutely, we can do that for you, we can do this for you. And then when that doesn't come through, it ends up with a bit of a funny feeling between yourself and the client because they expected you to get that done because you said that you could get that done. Now, if you can't, that's going to cause further problems because you're constantly building up the client's expectations and then letting them down. Okay, now if this is happening on a continual basis, again, would you really blame the client for thinking about wanting to leave your business? Okay, now go above and beyond when you can, but make sure that you under promise and over deliver. So still deliver an absolutely outstanding service. Okay, but never make promises that you can't keep is essentially what this means. Now, if somebody asks you to do something fairly complex and you say, look, I'm going to give it a bash, but I can't make any promises. If you don't achieve it, nobody's going to blame you. But if you do achieve it, you'll get a massive pat on the back and your client will be very much more inclined, again, in my personal experience, my personal opinion, to stick with you for the long run because they believe that you're achieving amazing things. We don't want to fly in overconfident and start making promises that we can't deliver on. Okay. So another way that you can keep clients long-term, stop them from leaving your business, is to keep things exciting. Make sure that your business is dynamic and learning new things all the time. Okay. You as the business leader want to be ahead of the game. You want to be learning new things. You want to be agile. You want to be adaptive. And the reason for this is so that for your clients and your kind of personal level of service there is exemplary, so that you're always at the front of the line. You're always doing things first. You're rolling out new services, new products, new ways of doing things. You feel up to date, you feel in the know, and you feel powerful. And your client feels powerful for being part of your business. A client that feels powerful with your business is never going to want to leave. Okay. This is in my personal experience, my personal opinion, because why would they? Okay. Now, when we think about clients not wanting to leave, we think about the reasons why. They like you, they got on well with you, you communicate well, they feel well taken care of, well looked after, and you're achieving exemplary results for them. Now, if this is the case, it's going to be very, very hard to have a conversation around why they would want to leave. Okay, if you're overperforming, you're delivering fantastic ROI, return on investment, if that's something that they're interested in or it's a service that you offer. Okay, but in many, many other ways, think about anything that you pay for as a service, anything that you're a part of, any business that you're a part of. Okay, what is it that makes you stay with that business? And think about this. Is it because it's fresh, exciting, dynamic? We'll take a TV provider again, for example. They're rolling out new shows all the time, new programs, new ways to watch. You can record things, you can pause, you can rewind. Okay, they're rolling out fresh things to keep you interested. And that's what we must do as business owners as well. All right. So we must seek to keep people's interest and attention, as well as delivering a high quality service at all times. Okay, so these are the fundamental rules of how to keep clients. Keep their interest, keep their attention by being fresh, dynamic, and agile. Deliver a high quality service at all times. Never overpromise and underdeliver. Always underpromise and overdeliver where you can, when you can. Okay, so that brings us to the end of topic number 3. I'm going to give you just a very brief pause now, one final time on today's session. And what we're going to do is we're going to dive on in just a moment to the recap, and then I'm going to answer the Q&A for you at the end of today's session during a few minutes Q&A session. Okay, so I'll see you again in just a moment's time. All right, fantastic. So to recap on today's session, point number 1 or question number 1, how do I land clients? Be certain of your service offering, be sure of what it offers and to whom, and therefore you'll have an easier time finding prospective clients for your business because you'll know who you're looking for. Okay, now that's certainly a large part of the battle. Number 2, sell without selling. Okay, talk about the benefits, help them where you can, when you can, and you may find that you're sort of starting to inadvertently sell your service or your product. And finally, under promise, over deliver always. Okay, very, very big point, something that's very, very important to take home during today's session. Now, I'm just going to grab the questions that I have from you from today's Q&A. Okay, so one moment, please. And I'm just going to go and grab those for you. Excellent. Okay, so as always, a massive thank you for taking the time to join us on today's iOB business webinar. If you would like to talk to a member of our team, you're more than welcome to head over to iob-business.com/talk-to-us. And on there, you can go ahead and book a call at a time that suits you with us. So I'm just going to leave that little calendar up on screen for you today, whilst I go ahead and answer the questions that I have from you. Okay, cool. So first question I have, how can I learn new things all the time? Awesome. Okay, cool. I love that question. So let me answer it for you. My advice would be to keep your ear to the ground. Okay, listen to those already doing the research, okay, the hard work, as I like to call it, okay, like podcasts, for example. Learning new things all the time is difficult, especially if you're putting all of that weight on your own back. So what I choose to do is find a very select group of experts and listen to what they're saying. They're the ones doing the research. They're the ones doing all the hard work, the groundwork. And then what I want is the bite-sized updates, okay? I want to know what's new, what's exciting, what's going to get businesses somewhere new, somewhere that they haven't been before, okay? But it could be strenuous trying to do this personal research all the time for yourself and trying to absorb all of these different bits of education. Okay, what you could seek to do instead is actually think about maybe selecting a few specific experts or a few specific expert avenues, such as podcasts, books, webinars that you could listen to, where you could actually get a lot of this information in bite-sized chunks. Okay, awesome question. Thank you for asking, and I hope that answers your question well. Next question, I've always struggled with sales. Okay, cool. Amazing question. And once again, like I said, I love talking about sales, so let's get into this. I'd like to answer your question with a question. Is this due to potentially a lack of confidence or being unsure of your offering? Okay. Now, in my experience, there will be a reason. Okay. A little time to assess this could dramatically change your ability to sell going forwards. Okay. Now, in my experience, there's almost always a reason as to why you struggle with your confidence with selling, why you have a little bit of a hard time. Is it because you're not 100% certain of the product or service that you're offering? Is it because you're not 100% certain of yourself, the environment, who you're speaking to? Okay. Try and take a bit of time to assess why you're not feeling so confident and go and try and solve that problem and come at it again. Okay. So, for example, if it is something to do with you not being completely confident with your service offering, go and have a look at why. Maybe have a look at improving that service offering or becoming a bit more well-versed with what it is you actually want to offer. Okay, we're talking specifics, achievables for the client, achievables for the prospective client, what you hope to achieve together with them, for example. Okay, but go ahead and assess why your confidence may be lacking and therefore how you could potentially solve that going forwards. And look, it's a process. Okay, there is no overnight win in my experience, my opinion with sales. It's something that you very much need to work on over time, but continually assess yourself, continually assess why you might be a little bit nervous, and hopefully that'll help increase your confidence over time. Amazing question. Thank you ever so much for asking, and I hope that that helps. Okay, do we have any more questions from today? No, looks like that is it. Okay, well, as always, a huge thank you once more. And I very much hope that you enjoyed today's session. And I very much look forward to speaking with you again on the next iOB business webinar. Take care and bye for now.